Well, happy Friday, everybody. Great to see all of you joining us on the DraftKings Twitter platform, also on Twitch and YouTube. This is the Slate. We will take you up until 6 o'clock tonight, breaking down all things in the NFL. We have a big weekend ahead, Week 13. We'll discuss a little bit of last night's game between the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. Matt LaMarca is a big NBA guy. He's here as well. Steve Buchanan, Brendan Glasheen. Steve, how are you? Good to see you.
Thanks.
Thank you. LaMarca, how are you?
Wonderful. Got a nice little jump on my holiday shopping. Always feels good to get out ahead of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You don't strike me as someone who plans that far in advance.
No, not at all.
Well, that's
maybe
noted.
A futures bet, but not holiday shopping.
I always look for the best line possible, boys. And Cyber Monday, you get a lot of good lines out there. There's a lot of value. You take advantage.
He's not wrong.
Nicely done. That's a great analogy for those of you tuning in. So what did we make of that game last night? Cowboys, they win. They kind of prove to us that they're still in contention. They don't fall on their faces in New Orleans. The Saints, why in the world did they give Taysom Hill all that money? I mean, wow. Not great. Saints were like a team that felt playoff destined a few weeks ago. They've lost 5 games in a row now. But, Steve, how do we feel about the Dallas Cowboys as a contender? We can spend just a few minutes on this game before we look ahead.
I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have been contenders since day one. They should be beating up on awful teams like the New Orleans Saints, who could have given Cam Newton a fraction of the money and gotten the same type of performance they got last night out of Taysom Hill. Like, Sean Payton has got this weird obsession with Taysom Hill, and it's getting him nowhere. The gadget guy, Taysom Hill, got to bring them to the promised land. It's going to bring them to under 500 and a good draft pick. That's what Taysom Hill is going to get the Saints.
Wow. You guys know he got hurt yesterday, right? The guy's basically playing football with a broken finger.
That's not my problem.
No.
I am not selling any of my Taysom Hill stock yet. I'm not saying he's going to get this team to the playoffs, but you know what? They might not be in such a bad position if they played him 4 weeks ago instead of Trevor Siemian.
Stop it.
So,
did you watch
the Cowboys?
He wasn't much better.
He has a broken finger, Glash.
Did he start the game with a broken finger? Did he start the game with a broken finger?
No.
Okay. So what happens before the broken finger?
He suffered it early in the game. Enough. Let's move on.
Pinpoint. He was Mac Jones accurate before
Dallas
the
Cowboys finger? Plus 1,100. I think that's a pretty good number.
It's a great number.
Zero doubts, believe it or not, about this defense, right? Like, the Cowboys have been an offensive team for the past half decade, and the concern was, can they get any stops? Now, if I have any questions with the Cowboys, it's their offense, particularly the fact that they're content to play a left guard at running back for most of the game. But yeah, you factor in the return of DeMarcus Lawrence. They're going to get Randy Gregory back eventually. You can mix those two guys in with Micah Parsons. You can use Parsons now all over the field. I think this defense is really good, especially when Diggs gets a pick every other game or every game essentially. So the question is can you count on their offense to move the ball consistently? And I think that there's room for improvement there. Play Pollard more. Last night they had a banged up Amari Cooper, so you get him back at full strength. I think the Cowboys can win the Super Bowl this year. They're one of the handful of teams that I put in that category.
Yeah, we're kind of reminded that Dan Quinn is a pretty darn good coordinator, right? Wasn't a great head coach in Atlanta, but he's done a pretty good job with his defense while the offense figures it out with some COVID issues with Cooper. Lamb's been banged up. Dak made an uncharacteristic mistake late in that game, but the Cowboys get it done. They improved to 9-3 against the spread this year, and as LaMarca mentioned, plus 1,100 to win the Super Bowl, which ranks 7th of all teams on the sports book. Okay, that's enough of last.
Can we all agree that the fact that they're behind the Patriots is ridiculous?
I mean, they're right there. I mean, talking about they're right there. Yeah. Look at this. That's not an Adam Kaufman take or anything. I'm just being realistic. So LaMarca, let me ask you this. Okay. Yeah. If the Patriots knock off the Bills, are they in the right spot?
Then we can talk about it. Yes.
Okay. That's fair.
Why are the Patriots ahead of the Ravens right now?
Because the Ravens stink.
The Ravens aren't good. Do you watch football, Glash?
No, okay, true. But at the moment, the Ravens are the number 1 seed in the conference.
That doesn't.
Yeah, but nobody's afraid of the Ravens.
No.
I think if I was to rank the AFC teams right now, it would be Bills 1, Chiefs 2, Gap, and then shrug emoji.
Who's Gap? The store? Oh, you mean like an actual Gap? Got it.
Like a tier gap.
Got it. All right. Okay, fair enough. Well, we will readdress that when we go to next week. That's how this works. We have to do a show today, right? So we move on to next week. Steve Buchanan, he does a great job getting the splits out from the DK Sportsbook.
Thanks.
You don't put that chart together. They just give it to you, and then you post it.
That's not information that's necessary.
Okay.
He puts it together.
Thank you, Lamarca.
All right. Well,
You're welcome.
We'll go with that. So Steve put the splits out earlier today. The public loving some teams with long lines, Steve. Favorites with long lines. The Colts, the Cardinals, the Rams. This feels like, I can't remember exactly what week it was, but it's kind of going back to like middle of the year when we had situations like this. And man, it kind of scares me, huh? Doesn't it scare us as folks that like to take a look at the sports book? These are iffy. These are weird times looking at the NFL.
I'll tell you what, the public just doesn't learn, right? Like you beat a dog and the dog gets disciplined, right? That's not what happens with the public. They get absolutely obliterated for weeks and weeks. And then they continue to back these monster spreads. Like, what have the Rams, and this is one of the biggest ones, what have the Rams showed you that they should be minus 12.5 favorites against the Jaguars? I get it. The Jaguars stink. All right. The Jaguars are absolutely horrible. But do you want to back the Rams as minus 12.5 point favorites? No, not a chance. No chance. Like, I would maybe include the Rams in a 6-point teaser. We love teasers. Julian Edlow and I love teasers, so get him to under a touchdown. Fine. I'm okay with that. But 12.5? No way. This Rams team is brutal right now. Stafford has like 9 different injuries, not exaggeration. OBJ is banged up. Obviously, Robert Woods has been out. The run game has been non-existent. You know what? The Jaguars are a bit feisty. That's all. 12.5, too much. Too many points.
Yeah, Lamarca, the Rams, it feels like they don't have an identity right now. We don't know what we're going to get out of this football team.
Yeah, and I think the Stafford injury is playing a big part in that, right? Like, he just hasn't looked like the same player. I still think this team is very talented. I have zero faith in Jacksonville, so I'm not going to bet this spot. I don't think that there's a ton of value one way or the other. And by the way, just for clarification purposes, teams laying more than a touchdown this year, 21, 19, and 1 against the spread. So actually above 500. Not a like particularly profitable sample size, but it's not like the public has been getting beat up by taking large favorites all year.
Okay, so do you like a large favorite other than this game?
If I was going to take one this week, I would probably take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers laying 10.5. The Atlanta Falcons, yes, they beat the Jaguars last week. Do you know what the combined score of their previous 2 games was? 68-3. 68-3. I don't think this team has near enough talent to keep up with the Bucs. You know, their best player is Calvin Ridley. He's not playing football at the moment. I just don't know. If Tampa Bay gives this game their B+ effort, I think they run away with it.
All right, cool. That's the 1:00 game. It's actually got the highest total on the slate as well. The only total that's over 50 points. What do you make of that? It's interesting.
Because the under is crushing this year.
Scoring down. Yep.
And books are struggling to adjust because if you start making it too low, then people are hammering the over. Like, this has been such a cluster F of a year that the books can't keep up. The books aren't able to catch up. But truly, like when you say, right, that in the month of November, 23 underdogs won straight up in the month of November, that's insane. How do you adjust to that? How can you adjust to that? Or away underdogs are winning at a 62.2% of the rate on the year, 56, 34, and 1. How do you keep adjusting to that until you start getting hammered one week, right? Like that's the big issue. And the only reason why I groaned about the Bucs is that, yes, they should clean up against the Falcons. But when I tell you the Bucs are 1-5 against the spread on the road this season, the worst in the league, that's a problem. And not only are they the worst in the league on the road, they're failing to cover by almost 8 points. So it's not like it's a slim margin. They're failing to cover by over a touchdown. Now, this is a scenario where I think that the record should change to 2-5. But if you've been betting the Bucs on the road, you're getting annihilated this year against the spread with the points, which is odd because this is a team that passes more than any other team in the league. This is one of the most highest scoring offenses in the league, but their defense is so bad that they'll put up 40 points, but they give up 35 in the process. And that's why they're not covering spreads. I don't think the Falcons have enough manpower to do that. Well, I mean, look at their offense for the past couple of weeks. It's been terrible.
Gonna need a big game from Alameda Zacchaeus.
Right. Yeah, that's what you need. Or Russell Gage. He Gage in the cage. He's got to go crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the capabilities, but would you if I told you and I don't know what offhand, I'm just guessing. If I told you the Falcons team total in this game was, let's say 21.5, would you take the over or the under on that? You probably have to think about it, right?
I'd take the under, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Find it out, Glash. There you go. Doing a good job. 19.5. Oh, that's horrible. Yeah. That's horrible. I might think about the over there, honestly. 19.5, that's low. That's pretty low. But look at the Bucs at 30.5. And yet this team is 1-5 on the road against the spread. That just tells you how bad their defense is.
It's a big
Can we talk about some games that we like?
Yeah, let's do that.
That's cool. Sounds good.
I know. And to give everybody a peek behind the curtain, Brendan Glasheen does a great job outlining the show for us, provides us with tons of notes on what he wants to talk about. And I respect the hell out of that. The other guy who does this show, Adam Kaufman, he just rolls up to the mic 3 minutes before we're about to get going. He says, "Clear out, boys. ISO. I'm taking it to the hole."
Right.
So I respect it, but clear out, Glash. I'm about to take this one to the rack. So,
Lamarca, for the record, it's just a guide.
Jets plus 7.
Lamarca, can I just interject for 1 second, Lamarca, before you start talking about your show? Your pick, I mean. When the best shows were? When it was a 2-man booth. There it is. Go ahead, Jets. Go ahead.
No comment. Jets plus 7.
That's it. That's your bet. That's your
my bet. Yes,
after all that, you call that a slam dunk? Good luck. You're going to get denied at the rim.
Baby. I didn't say I was going to score, just that I was going to the rim.
You're going to get Bam Adebayo blocked at the rim.
Listen, he comes back with Jets plus 7.
What have the Philadelphia Eagles done this season to be 7-point road favorites over anybody? I said the same thing when they were favored against the Giants last week on the road. And guess what? The Giants spanked them. The Eagles scored 7 points. And the Giants had their C team offense. They didn't play half their guys. So I don't see any difference with this spot for the Jets. Shout out to Kenny Ducey. I miss you, Ken. Jets plus 7.
No, we don't. I put tape over my eyes.
What are you wearing?
I put tape over my eyes. I didn't want to see that horrific analysis by Matt Lamarca.
Okay. Well, give me one then.
Well, hold on.
You know what mine is? I'll give you mine. Eagles minus 7 against the Jets.
Yeah, Lamarca, you're overreacting to one bad week. You're overreacting. You're doing what you shouldn't do. You're looking at just last week.
No, I'm not. Because this line is saying that the Eagles are a competent football team. This line is saying that the Eagles are 10 points better than the Jets on a neutral field. What have the Eagles done this year to earn that kind of treatment? Yes, they beat the Broncos. Congratulations. They beat the Saints, who were starting Trevor Siemian, who couldn't throw a pass. Congratulations. Other than that, this team has been bad all year. What are we doing? Give me the Jets.
Steve, your counter response?
I mean, we're so late in the season, right? The playoffs are going to be here in about a month, and Matt Lamarca is still riding an underdog Jets team on this points.
You damn right I am. I'm looking for any value I can, baby. It's
Philadelphia Eagles on the road.
I need the money in my pocket.
Philadelphia on the road against the spread, 4-3 this year, above 500.
Don't care.
Don't care.
How many times have they been favored by a touchdown on the road?
They're 1-1 this year as an away favorite.
My guess is they have never been favored by this much on the road.
Probably not, because like you said, what have they done? So we don't know yet. Favored by a touchdown on the road. But of all teams, you're going to take your chances on the New York Jets.
The Jets are just awful, man. They're just straight up bad.
Hey, they won last week.
Yeah, I know they won last week, but I mean, we're talking about the Houston Texans that, we're talking about. Tyrod Taylor. Like, there's not much there. The Eagles are in all of my...
And this is my thing. This is my thing about NFL betting. I think that, and I'm not trying to call you guys squares by any stretch of the imagination, but I think the public looks at a team like the Texans and they look at a team like the Eagles and they say, wow, the Eagles are so much better than the Texans. In reality, there isn't a ton of difference between those two teams. Neither of those teams is a team that, they're both going to get inconsistent quarterback play. Neither plays particularly well defense. There's not a ton separating all these teams at the bottom. We've just been talking about how underdogs continue to crush. And yet you're looking at an Eagles team favored by a touchdown on the road. And it's like, that's not a bad line in your guys' eyes.
Home teams against the spread in 2021 are 64, 85, and 1. We are on pace for the worst home ATS record in the NFL since 1966, Matt LaMarca, and you want to give 7 points to the New York Jets.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm taking them all. And when they win this game outright, I'll be high stepping into frame next week on this show.
All right, so take them at plus 230. Money line.
No, because I'm going to take the 7 when you give it to me. But
so the last time they even did that, winning outright as a home dog, that was the Bengals game. Is
sure.
That right? The Bengals?
That was on Halloween.
Mike White, the legend.
LaMarca, after all that, the whole clearing out ISO ball, that's your favorite?
That's my favorite bet of the week, yes.
All right. Well, some other games on the board, a lot of key injuries. It's that time of year, of course. I mean, you look at Lions-Vikings, starting running backs are out in that game. For the Cardinals, once again, game time decisions. And LaMarca, we can go to you on this one too, because you've been on record that you want to back the Cardinals, or maybe go against the Cardinals, I think I should say. Is that right? Go against the Cardinals with no Murray, no Hopkins. And here we are once again, game time calls on the road, 7.5 point favorites.
See, I've been burned too many times playing the injury game where it's worked out, right? You'll grab, let's say you do think Murray's going to sit. You take the Bears at 7.5. He gets ruled out. By the time kickoff rolls around, the Cardinals are -4, and you feel great about yourself. But then the Cardinals win outright anyway because the rest of their team is just very, very good. So I've decided that the best way to play this game and play the Murray angle is to just take under 42.5, because I don't see a formula where Chicago cracks 17 points or so. I mean, they've been a rough offensive team all year, and the Cardinals are great defensively, third in defensive DVOA. So I don't expect the Bears to hold up their end of the bargain. And then if Murray does sit, all you have to do is fade, a 4-touchdown James Conner performance or a Colt McCoy random game. I feel better about doing it that way than I am about targeting the spread.
Okay. Steve, any thoughts on this game or how injuries impact your thoughts? I know it was with LaMarca on Monday, and we both got in on the Dolphins -3. Now they're -6 with Daniel Jones being ruled out. And by the way, back to LaMarca's point, I suppose Jalen Hurts is now questionable. So I guess that is a reason to back the Jets if indeed he gets ruled out. But any thoughts on this game or another game you want to look at, Steve?
No, I mean, I have no thoughts on this one. I'm not looking to bet this if Kyler Murray's in or out. I love that Dolphins game. I think the Dolphins are still perceived as a bad team to the public, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be more than over a touchdown favorite against the Giants who are starting their backup quarterback. I mean, it's absolutely probably. I mean, you want to talk about value on the board? This is your value right here. The Dolphins are healthy. If the Dolphins were healthy to begin the year, you're looking at a much different record than you see right now. The Dolphins were ravaged by injury for the first couple of weeks of the season. They had some questionable quarterback play. That's why they're in the position that they are. This is a much better team than people give them credit for. Like, on what planet, when you look at these offenses, when you look at these defenses, and you say, yeah, the Dolphins should only be -6 favorites at home against the Giants? Give me a break. Are you kidding me? Give me that. Dolphins is my favorite bet of this week. And they are the perfect 6-point teaser play because you get them down to a pick 'em. They just need to win. So you put that with the Patriots and get them up to +9. There's your 6-point teaser for the week. 2 spreads that should absolutely cash.
I like it.
Patriots at +9. I knew you would. But that's not why I brought it up. I brought it up because I like it, not because you like it.
Okay.
Get the Dolphins down to a pick 'em. Get the Patriots up to +9. I'm already at the window right in the caption.
Love it.
Thanks. Thank you.
So, and like you mentioned the injuries, and Lamarca, just to jump in quickly here, the Dolphins are still very much alive. Like, they could still make the playoffs if they take care of business here. That they've actually got a shot. They could squeeze in. And
it's a puncher's chance. It's a puncher's chance. The best they could do is 10-7. I expect them to win this week. I'm in complete agreement with you guys. I do think that the narrative that like the Dolphins are this unknown team that the public is not aware of yet, that's kind of gone, right? You win 4 straight games, the public is going to know. And that's reflected in the betting
That's not
numbers.
true, though. That's not true. Why are they still only -6 favorites then? Truly.
Because they're not a dominant football team.
Against this team, though?
That's a reflection of the Jones injury, which I think is silly.
Yeah, Jones to Mike Glennon, I don't know if that's a 3-point line move, in my opinion.
That's what I mean.
You know, I loved the Dolphins when they opened up at 3 points. That's why we took them. Now that it's up to 6, you know, and going in that direction, I'm a little bit less interested, even though, you know, the quarterback change should help the Dolphins. But yeah, I expect the Dolphins to get back to 500. All they have to do is beat the Giants and beat the Jets. But then their schedule gets much tougher over their last 3 games, and I still would have them as pretty heavy long shots to make the playoffs.
Saw a retweet from Julian Edlow earlier today. Joe Judge is 9-3 as a road dog in his career. 9-3.
The Giants are better. They're another team that I think is better than people think. They're feisty. They very rarely get blown out. Again, I was on them last week against the Eagles. They won the game outright as underdogs. I like the Giants. I think that they are better than their record indicates, but I love the Dolphins. The way their defense is playing, they're a very good team.
Any other games we'd like to discuss? The one game, looking at the splits, and Steve, I heard this a bit on your podcast with Julian. It's very evenly bet right now. Bengals and Chargers. That game, looking at the splits, it's really right down the middle. Compared to any other game, it's the closest to the middle as any other. Really can't gauge as to what we think about this one, right? It's a 3-point spread. Chargers are, of course, a dog on the road. How do we feel about this game?
I mean, you got 2 teams that are going in the complete opposite directions, right? Like the Bengals are making a legitimate playoff push at this point, and the Chargers are just, I don't know, they've just like fallen off a proverbial cliff here at this point.
Yeah.
The problem is they can't stop the run. Joe Mixon is going to go house on this team. When we did the podcast on Thursday, his rushing yards was like 86.5. There's no way that it can still be 91.5. It's gone up 5 yards since yesterday. That is going to keep climbing. And I'd still be
the Bukes effect, folks.
Yep, you got it. You're right. That's where I was going. But like, I would still play this to probably like up until about 94.5. Like, he should absolutely run all over this team. 58 carries over the last 2 weeks. He's averaging like almost 5 yards a carry in those games. Like, and he just absolutely went crazy on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who probably have a better run defense. Really, everybody has a better run defense than the Chargers. But Mixon is just absolutely crushing it right now. Yeah, you see the numbers right there. Almost 300 yards in the past 2 games. Now he gets the Chargers. Please give me Joe Mixon over 94.5. I'll take that up to you, and give me Joe Mixon 2 touchdowns in this game.
Worth $8,100 in fantasy lineups this week. We can do a little DFS minute before we get Lamarcus.
First guy you put in your lineup this week. I'm not even kidding.
Okay.
I also like the Bengals, for the record.
You do. Well, and I think Steve said this on the podcast. Like, this could easily be a spot where like the Chargers stun us and win by 12. right?
And that's how the NFL's gone this year.
Yeah, you take a prop like that you could still get there, and they could still lose by 12. In theory,
I don't listen to Steve Buchanan's podcast.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Chargers have been so inconsistent. Like, they look great in the month of October. They can play in some shootouts. We're aware of that, but they haven't beat teams handedly like we expected. And the Bengals, they were kind of humbled by that Browns loss. They put together consecutive good weeks. And as we kind of said off the top with the Ravens, we don't believe in them. The Bengals are plus 200 to win the AFC North. That might be worth a little attention, a little sprinkle, because if we looking at the Ravens schedule, that is no easy finish. They got Green Bay, the Rams are on that schedule. Maybe they get tripped up by Pittsburgh. I doubt it, but say they do, it really opens the door for the Bengals to win the North. I'm sure you guys have thoughts on futures on the division, of course. And then the Monday night game is a huge game because the Patriots and the Bills play 2 of the next 3 head to head.
God, I can't wait for the Bills to just put them in the dirt this week.
I don't think you're getting a ton of value on the Bengals at plus 200. I mean, you probably could have got them at a better number at this point at plus 200. I'm not overly interested to take that, but yeah, I mean, they're very much alive in that division. It's either them or the Ravens. So if you want to get some plus money, I don't hate it, but I'm certainly not going out of my way to take it.
Just to show the people, there it is right there. The Bengals plus 200. All right, we only have a couple minutes because there's Madden Sims coming up tonight on the DraftKings Twitch and YouTube platforms. Matt LaMarca, do you have a quick NBA minute for us, a pick, a prop that you'd like to share before we sign off?
Yeah, let's go to the Miami Heat. And let's look at my man Tyler Hero.
You looking at DFS? Or you want to talk prop?
Prop, baby.
All right. What do you got?
I want to go over on his scoring prop.
Sorry, having trouble.
We noticed.
Was doing so well. Here we go. Scoring.
There you go.
There he is. 23.5. Taking the over?
Yeah, I'm not scared. No Jimmy Butler. No Bam Adebayo. He's increased his usage rate significantly with both players off the court. I mean, he was at 35.5% in his last game. He didn't make any shots. He was 9 for 23 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3-point range. He still got to 21. So I expect a better shooting performance tonight versus the Pacers. Tyler Hero, going to be in my DFS lineups, and I'm definitely getting exposure in the player prop market.
Do you have a write-up tonight on the playbook for the NBA?
No, I do not.
Okay. All good. Just want to make sure we promote the product.
Someone else, I'm sure, did it, and I'm sure it's great. So go check it out.
Real quick. Who do you like, Suns or Warriors? Rematch from Tuesday. No Devin Booker.
Warriors
to cover.
Come out and play. Yeah, it's a big motivation spot for them, right? Okay. You can't go and lose 2 in a row to the Suns. You can't lose at home. This spread 7, it's probably a bit on the higher side than what I would have expected, but I think the Warriors are the best team in basketball still. All the numbers suggest they're the best team in basketball. Steph Curry bounced back. He certainly can't play any worse than he did the first time these two teams met. And that was still a very close game. So little Curry regression. You take out the D-book, Golden State Warriors, 9-point victory. Take it to the bank.
All right. Very good. Good stuff. So we all like the Miami Dolphins. Steve likes the idea of teasing the Dolphins and the Patriots as we look ahead to Monday night as well. He finds value there. And then LaMarca's pick of the night in the NBA. He likes Tyler Hero over 23.5 points. Joe Mixon, get him in your DFS lineups as well. That was a big takeaway from this abbreviated program, thanks to Madden Overtime. That will do it for us tonight on this Friday. Thanks to Eamon and Andrew behind the scenes. For Steve Buchanan, Matt LaMarca, Brendan Glasheen. You will see Steve on Sunday at noon on these platforms, as well as Valley Sports, getting you ready for Week 13 Sunday in the NFL. You can find Matt LaMarca on Twitter. Everywhere. Yeah. You'll find him at the bank. You'll actually find him at the bank tomorrow, cashing his Warriors 9-point win, covering 7 points. You all have a great night, great show, and We'll see you again next week and catch Steve on Sunday. See you later.
Just wrap it up. Bye.